Hey, what's going on, guys? So we got a really cool new frame arms kit to look at today. This is the Kenshin designed by the one and only Kunio Okawara. It's a very cool and unique design. Let's go ahead and get into it for today's review. Alright guys, so we'll start off taking a look at this very interesting and unique box art and all of its contents. While this particular style of mecha may not be to my personal taste, it's certainly some very unique and beautiful box art, I have to say, and it's immediately recognizable as that signature Kunio Okawara style there, so very interesting design for this frame arms kit. On the end of the box here, you can see this is number 60 in the line. There you have a nice close-up of that box art. And on the one side here, we have some images of how the kit is going to look when it's all built and painted up, so very cool, certainly very colorful, very unique style for this one. It's definitely going to stand out in your collection, I would have to say. That styling on it looks very nice, and it'll be interesting to see how the actual parts are straight out of the box. Though that question was answered for me pretty quickly, because if we go over here on the other side, here's an image of what the kit is going to look like as an unpainted sample. So there's how it's going to look straight out of the box. Obviously not quite as fancy as it looks once it's all painted up. We do also have some decals, and over here we've got a list price of 5,400 yen for this guy. Let's go ahead and pop open the box. We'll take a look at all those beautiful runners here in just a moment. Let's first take a quick look at the instruction manual. On the front, there's a photo of the painted sample build there. Some information down here, as well as that artwork from the front once again. On the back side, there is our color guide if you want to follow the intended colors. Those are there for you in Japanese, as well as some nice reference images here for you. And it looks like the decals are going to be going on like these side shields and then there on the knee as well. On the inside of the manual, we've got our parts list there, including a few different bits of grayed out sections. That's just going to be leftover parts that are not going to be used for the kit. Once you get through all of the construction here to the middle pages, we've got some information. So here's the battle graffiti, which is just like the backstory. So seeing as how Frame Arms doesn't have an anime or manga series, anything like that, there is some story to the mechas, and that's usually included here in the center pages, as well as some information about the equipment there. That's the alternate type head that it has, I guess, here in the box, and just some of the equipment and features of the mecha is all there for you, but it's all in Japanese, unfortunately, so you just kind of have to translate that if you're interested. But moving along in the manual, in the end here, how to equip and use different weapons, the alternate parts there for the head there at the end, and that's going to be about it. So let's go ahead and check out the runners. So first up here is those water slide decals for the markings on the kit. Very nice, pretty simple. We've also got some polycaps here, PCA in gray. The first set of A and B runners, A we have one of, B we have two of. This is going to be your standard architect frame included in, I think, all of the frame arms kits. This is just also in standard gray. The A and B runners specifically for this kit are in this very nice purplish color. It's a really interesting bluish purplish color. A is a larger runner with a bunch of very nice parts on there, really nicely detailed. B we have two of for some copied parts for the arms and legs. Runners C and D are going to be our white parts for the kit. There's runner C, runner D, we've got two of those. Runners E and F is going to be some more gray parts. E we've got one of, F we have two of these. And we've got two different runner Gs, so you'll have to pay attention to which one's which. This one is in red, and it's very nice. Check out some of that molded detail on these parts. That's really cool. And our other G runner is here in this molded gold, which is in this very nice orangish gold color. Same story here with runner H. We've got a pair of red H runners and then a pair of molded gold H runners. In this case, they are copies, so it's going to be copies. You have to use some from one runner and some from the other. So again, just make sure you're paying attention in the manual which parts are the correct ones to use. Runners I and J are some more parts in this dark gray color. There's runner I. Runner J, you have two of these. Runner K is also in dark gray, but here's some parts for the weapons. As you can see, some nice detail on that one as well. Runner L is a couple more little parts there in that dark purplish color. Runner M1 is some parts for our swords, both long and short. Very nice. Runner N is a couple of parts there in clear blue, looks like for the eyes for the kit. Runner O is a few more pieces here in gold, and just take a look at the detail on that. That's going to be really nice. And then Runner P is some more parts here in white. There is our face part, for example. Last but not least, runner V1 is going to be our standard set of hand parts for the frame arms kits. You got open hands, closed fists, holding hands, trigger finger hands, all the good stuff on there. And that's going to be it for the parts. Let's go ahead and check out the kit. Right guys, so here is the kit all built up, certainly unique, and I think that's going to be the main takeaway for this kit. It's such a cool, unique design. You're not really going to get anything quite like this from any other kind of mecha series model kits, I feel like. And although it's definitely missing a lot of little color apps here and there straight out of the box, there's a lot of potential here with this kit, so let's go ahead and talk about it in a little bit more detail. As for its hand options, you've got open hands and closed fists for both sides. Then you do also have a set of weapon holding hands and holding hands with the trigger finger extended. The optional head is really cool with that very decorative crest up there on the top. That's quite interesting. I almost kind of prefer it to just the standard head, both of which are of course are very unique just in their styling, but this one also really cool. And for its weapons, you'll notice here on the side, we've got two of the swords, the short one and the long one. The long sword is actually stored inside there. It's a little bit tight, but that just actually pulls out there like that. As for the short sword, it's just a dummy handle there. That's going to be a separate part here like this, which has a lot of details on it, but it's all just going to be molded in one solid color, and same for the longer version of the sword as well, with these swords measuring about 11 centimeters and 5 centimeters in length respectively. Then we do also have its very long Naginata style weapon here. I believe would be the right name for this, but this one has a little bit more color separation with the white and gold and gray. This one measures almost 24 centimeters in length, so it's going to be really quite long. And the main gray part of the handle there is just all one piece, so that's not multiple pieces that you could omit one piece in order to make it shorter or anything like that. You would have to actually cut and modify that if you wanted this to be any shorter, but again, some really nice detail on here. Just with a little bit of painting, this could really shine. Last thing then is just going to be this like fan style weapon or accessory. I'm not exactly sure how you would characterize this, but again, missing some colors there, but like I'm going to keep mentioning with this kit, obviously a lot of potential if you want to go ahead and paint that up. Now before we get into talking a little bit about the articulation of the kit, I want to take these swords out just so they're out of the way. But in doing that, I will also mention that the swords can be equipped onto either side. So you'll see the short one can be equipped onto the top of the side skirt armor on either side. The head will move up to about there, which is quite nice, and down to there, obviously rotation and all that. In the stomach section, you have a pretty nice stomach bend forward like that, utilizing that architect frame there in the center. A little bit of back bend here as well. Side to side though is going to be a little bit limited. You can't really bend it side to side too much. You can rotate it, but the front skirt and chest armor kind of lines up so they kind of fit together like that. Once you start to rotate to the side, it looks a little bit strange, but this front skirt armor here will lift up, and this part actually bends a little bit in and out as a whole, and then the skirt armor can also move independently like that. Going back around to the backpack here real quick, you have a couple of joints here, and then these parts can rotate. These can also, of course, separate out these shield sections, and again, some really nice texture on there. Without the big marking on the side, they're not quite as impressive, but you have those as waterslide decals that you can add the markings onto there without too much issue. So you can move those shield sections completely out of the way, no problem. Also, this thruster unit here in the center can also move up and down a little bit there. As for the shoulder, that will swing forward and back a little bit like so. And the arms you can bring up vertically to the side to a little bit more than 90 degrees there. You'll have a rotation at the bicep and a double joint in the elbow, but just due to the shape of the armor, you're only going to get about 90 degrees bend there at the elbow. The wrist you can rotate, and it also bends up and down at the frame at the base of the wrist. And then in the hand, you have some forward and back articulation of the wrist like that. Getting back to the skirt armor, the side skirts will also lift up and down a little bit like so. Same for the back skirt, you can lift that up and down a little bit. Up underneath the hip section, you'll have a point for plugging this up onto a flying base or an action base, whatever you might prefer. At the top of the thigh, you have some rotation here like that, and you can bring the hips out to about there for the horizontal spread of the legs there. Forward, you can bring the leg up to about 90 degrees, and it's just kind of a matter of this wide knee armor kind of getting in the way of that skirt. But if you kind of move that a little bit out of the way, you can bring the leg up even farther, and we do have a nice bend there at the knee, giving us about 90 degrees. Going down to the ankle, this flap of armor here at the front can move up and down a little bit like that, and the foot will angle side to side very nicely. The toe does bend separately, so you can bend that down like that. Otherwise, the ankle will move front and back like that very nicely. Up underneath the feet, not too much detail there, but at least it's not hollow, I suppose. So like I said, comparing it to the official art, it is missing a lot of colors. These big markings here on the knees and on the shields are decals, so those will be nice to be put on there. But even though straight out of the box, it's missing some of those colors. Once those are painted in, like I said before, all the details on the kit are really nice and sharp and crisp, so once you get those all painted in, it's going to look really, really nice. The only other thing that I want to point out to you here on the body is that this is one of the very few hard points you have. So as you guys know, frame arms line usually has some hard points around the kit for customization. Not as many on these, and this is kind of the only really one that I would note to you guys is up there on the shoulder, which kind of gets hidden by the shield part depending on how you have it posed. But this is certainly a really unique kit, and even for the frame arms line, one of the things that I love about the frame arms line is the variety in the line. There's all sorts of different designs. You get designs from different mecha designers, and this one being from Kunio Okawara. It definitely has his flavoring to the design, and it's awesome to see that in this line. But it was interesting how, even though it's built around the Architect frame, once you get the kit all put together, it really doesn't seem that much like a frame arms kit at the end of the day. You can take that as a positive or negative, but I think if you're interested in this kit, the thing that's probably going to draw you to it is just the design. So if you like the design of this kit, then I think you're definitely going to be happy with it. It's not one that I feel fits into that highly customizable nature of other frame arms kits in the line. This one doesn't exactly have that same attribute, but instead of that, it just has a lot of its own kind of unique style that you could most certainly go in and customize with different MSG parts or kit bashing with different kits from the line or something. But I think it makes a lot of sense for anyone who wants to pick up this kit and just paint it up as it's supposed to be painted up and just try to make their own version of Kunio Okawara-san's vision for this particular mecha design. You know, either that or do a ton of customization on it. Either way, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with the kit. Definitely worth checking out. I highly recommend the frame arms line to you guys if you've not checked out any of the kits in the line, and this one you think does look pretty cool. Check it out. And that's about going to do it for this review, guys. So just want to say a big thank you to Kotobukiya for sending me this kit to share with you guys. Very cool kit. And if you're interested in this kit or anything else from the frame arms line or anything else from Kotobukiya, of course you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. We've got all that stuff there for you guys, as well as paints, tools, supplies, and all that good stuff. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you'd also like to like and subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. But hope y'all having a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.